right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 214 of the Drunk Dashers podcast. I'm your host, still, Tyler, and we have joining me again, the man, the myth, the legend, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I am doing so fantastic.
It's E3 is over.
Yes.
A lot of good stuff happened. A lot of great stuff happened. A lot of sad things happened. A lot of bad things happened. Disappointing things happened. So this week, probably going to be a short show. We're just going to kind of talk about the best and worst of E3. Hopefully you're not sick of hearing about it. Hopefully you're not sick of listening to us talk about it. But we're going to kind of go over a bunch of different, like, smaller topics. Just talk about overall thoughts on E3. It's been a couple days now. We've thought about it, things like that. So we'll jump right into it. We're going to go with top 3 games of the show. You can put them in order if you want, but what are coming out of E3? What are the 3 games you're most excited about?
Okay, the games that I'm most excited about. Number one.
You already got it. I was gonna say I can go if you want to think about it.
Yeah, you go ahead. Okay. And go first.
Number 3 for me, Evil Within 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Evil Within 1. Talked about it a couple days ago or a few days ago, whenever it was, about Ubisoft's not Ubisoft, Bethesda. Sorry, their press conference. Number 2, Super Mario Odyssey. That blew me away. The more we saw of it, that looks absolutely incredible. I haven't been really this excited about a Mario game in
Sunshine.
I don't know how long. Not even Sunshine. I mean, I never really was the biggest 3D Mario fan. Really, maybe since Luigi's Mansion, like an actual Mario series game. So,
I see.
I mean, I wasn't really excited for 3D World because I kind of fell off Nintendo for a while. So, first time really being excited for one in almost 20 years. And then number 1, Wolfenstein 2, New Colossus.
Yeah.
They nailed that trailer we got there, especially the comedy, the action, the gameplay. Killing Nazis is always fun. They perfect presentation. The guy at the end dropping acid in the middle of a fight with Nazis. I mean, you can't top that to me at all. So, what are your games of the show?
My games of the show, let's see. Just thinking back of like everything that I saw and stuff. Number 3, personally, would have to be God of War. Okay. Because that actually had a little bit more like... it had subtleties that really seemed like it's a natural like evolution of the God of War franchise. It's not like how it used to be and stuff with Kratos just being sort of like a anger-prone... just rage factor and stuff like that with no conscience and this and that and stuff like that. It feels much more evolved. The combat feels and looks a lot more like it's going to be fluid and stuff, and you're going to be progressing things here and there and stuff. So definitely I'm looking forward to that game. Number 2 is going to be a little bit of a hard one. But I am looking forward to that new Metroid game for the 3DS.
Okay. Metroid Samus Returns?
Yes, Samus Returns. The thing is, I love 2D Metroid. I've played through the original Metroid. I've played through Zero Mission, like Super Metroid and stuff like that. Metroid, like, obviously Metroid Fusion, Zero Mission, this and that. But I really like the art style and the gameplay direction that they have decided to go, and it's like I think you were saying like in the last podcast, Tyler, where it's just more of a reimagining of Metroid 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the only 2D Metroid thing that I had not even beat. So this is definitely going to be the type of game, and plus, it is the number 1 reason why I want to go back and play the 3DS. I mean, Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, yeah, I'll go and I'll play those.
Gold and Silver.
And Gold and Silver as well, obviously. But that is going to be the game that I'm going to pick up this fall, first and foremost, before any of those other titles. And I want to play through that game. It's been such a long time since I played a good 2D Metroid game. And obviously, the number 1, the game that I've saw that is my game of the show is Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
I am so excited for that game. That's just the thing. You think that you've played a great Mario game, and all of a sudden, you see something akin to what we saw during Nintendo's showcase, and they just go balls to the wall crazy with every single thing about the trailer through the little subtleties and stuff. I don't know how the fuck they do it. I don't know how the hell they come up with a lot of these concepts and stuff. It's like, hey, let's use Mario's hat in order to like control enemies and stuff like that, capture them, and then just use like a bullet bill to go into directions and stuff. You can become a Goomba and stuff, and just get yourself into a Goomba totem pole and just walk across certain terrains. Or, hey, you can go ahead and you become a Hammer Brother and stuff, and you could toss like frying pans and this and that and stuff. They gotta be fucking on something, dude. It's like
they're probably taking the same drugs that guy in the Wolfenstein 2 trailer was taking.
Dude,
it's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Super Mario Odyssey is probably the end result of that dude's like LSD trip.
Yeah. He's actually Miyamoto's father. I don't know if you guys know that.
Oh my gosh, but I can go on and on and on and stuff. It's obviously my game of the show because it gave me the strongest reaction out of every game shown. And I'm a fan of video games. I love playing my games. I loved this, but it comes down to a couple factors for me. One, does it look fun? Two, am I going to pick up and play it on day one? And three, is it going to leave a good lasting impression that I'm going to remember? And all of those factors were singing in unison when I saw the reveal gameplay trailer for Super Mario Odyssey. That is fucking insane. That is insane. But yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, and another thing, actually, this is our 5th year actually doing like an E3 podcast, and every year we've done our game of the show.
Yep.
The first 2 years was The Division for me. Third year was Unravel. Last year was South Park Fractured Butthole. And Wolfenstein 2 was this year, obviously. So I'm hoping this year could break the string of me hating my game of the show from E3 with South Park and Wolfenstein 2. Yeah, I mean, Division, I came out, I didn't even play it for like 8 months, finally played it, didn't like it. Unravel, I mean, that game, they actually literally set it on fire. During the EA press conference. I couldn't believe they did it. I didn't see that coming at all. I didn't guess that would happen. So, yeah. I mean, this could be a good. I mean, it was a 10-day span. I'll find out if they break the streak of Tyler's game of the show as being bad. So yeah.
I don't even remember mine, to be perfectly honest.
I got to go back and listen. Last year, I remember, was Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah, that one was fucking insane.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't remember the past years. I mean, I can go look them up one day, or here sometime soon. Next up, biggest surprise of E3. Like, this is positive surprise. Mine's biggest surprise is Metro Exodus. Talked about it a couple times already. Love the Metro games. It's a series. A franchise I thought maybe was dead. I know, like Last Light was the last one that came out in like 2012 or 13. And those games kind of came and went. There was some good buzz when they came out and got re-released for the PS4 and Xbox One. But I didn't think we'd ever see another one. And the fact that the franchise is still alive, and seems like it's doing well. I know it's probably a couple of years out. It says 2018, but I mean, a lot of games that are said 2018, I bet are going to slip. A good chunk of them at least, hopefully, because there's too many good games coming out next year otherwise. So yeah, that is definitely my surprise of the show for E3. What about you, Gables?
It's a no. What?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Never mind. Go ahead.
It's a no-brainer for me. Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sakes, it's like, this is coming from a franchise that was almost dead coming through, like, after the release of Metroid Other M back in 2010. That was universally panned by critics and stuff like that, but yet it was still a good game, in my opinion. I mean, there were aspects of the story that didn't make sense. The gameplay was pretty fun. Team Ninja did a great job of that game, but the lasting ramifications of that game was huge because Nintendo would not go back to that franchise for another game up until the release of Metroid Federation Force. That was like last year.
Yeah.
And the reaction was toxic to the nth degree, pardon my pun right there, but because of how they wanted traditional Metroid, and they wanted another Metroid Prime, and then all of a sudden, after like going through that talk with the Pokemon, like the lead Pokemon like maker, like game designer, whatever, creative mind behind Pokemon and stuff like that, after just seeing that whole like that subtlety and stuff, and seeing that 4 logo, and all of a sudden the original Metroid Prime, like the music just starts flaring up. I had goosebumps. It was an absolute surprise. This was a genuine, like, excitement-filled type of announcement, to where not even Beyond Good and Evil 2 did that to me. Now, granted, I may not have played too much of Beyond Good and Evil, but even I had a good surprise when I noticed, oh my god, it's Beyond Good and Evil 2. It's finally going to be made. Nothing like Metroid Prime 4. Not even close. So, yeah, that's my surprise for the show.
Yeah, I would say, everybody, if you haven't already, just Google search Tim Geddes Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah,
and you're
seriously.
in for a treat. If you want to see genuine joy, that's a video you should probably check out.
Yes.
Moving on to something else. Most disappointing. So something that you were hyped up for and didn't deliver, or something that maybe you didn't even expect, and just like, you're like, oh, okay. You got excited, and oh, okay. Okay. That sucks.
Let me go first on this one here.
Okay.
Because I actually can think of it right now, and it occurred during Microsoft's press conference.
Is the answer the entire thing?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm not that fucking biased. But the one game that disappointed me the most was that fucking Darwin game.
Yeah.
Dude, that trailer, it's like, I did not expect to see that coming out of nowhere and stuff. It's like you got this like sort of a Overwatch like Battleborn style of game, and all of a sudden in the middle of it you have a blaring announcer's voice just like blurred, just like announcing like a competitive game right in the middle of it. It's like, what the fuck am I watching? Why is he yelling? This and that and stuff, and all of a sudden it's like for generic gameplay for this game that like I don't even think is going to be even remotely anywhere close to as good as like what they were going to aim it to be, and that personally left me with a feeling like, oh my god, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah, would you put that in worst game, or would you put that in most disappointing game?
Disappointing.
Okay, all right.
That's the most disappointing that I saw from that.
Okay. Mine is I actually have two. One for something that was there, and one for something that wasn't.
Okay.
Most disappointing for thing that was there, Xbox One X. I think with the PS4 Pro, at least we knew it was coming, but Sony never actually claimed it was coming until they announced it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of hard overall to be disappointed so much by it. And they had some good games, big games they're hyping up that were going to use the power of it and show off the power of it with the Horizon Zero Dawn, Neo, and a couple other games come out this year. But with Xbox One X, they announced that last year E3, hyped it up for a year, and then came out, and then, hey, it's the most powerful thing gaming console, and that's the same thing we've been hearing for a year. Yep. And it came out, and then that was all it was. That's all they really said, and they gave out some really great sounding numbers that make it sound interesting, but they don't really have anything right now that's going to show off the power of it, other than Forza, which those are always the big thing that they show off for the new console, new piece of hardware, whatever. Most disappointing thing that wasn't there is, once again, third year in a row, UbiArt game. We haven't seen one of those since 2014. We got two in that year. We got Child of Light, and then what was that game called? The World War one, something Valiant Hearts.
It was Valiant Hearts, yeah.
Yeah, that game, and then we had like Rayman Origins or Rayman Legends. I'm sorry. All those games come out in like about a year span, and then we haven't seen anything since then at all. This kind of, that was supposed to be a big thing. We're going to be able to see a lot of really impressive looking games, and those games looked really impressive, and also were also really great games. And we haven't seen anything. And every year for E3, I get hyped up for Ubisoft just for a UbiArt reveal, and every year for 3 years in a row now, they have let me down. Yeah. So that's most disappointing. Next one. Worst game of E3.
You can go ahead and go and continue that one.
Mine is Skull and Bones. That game, when they first announced it, I'm like, that looks kind of cool. Okay, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, like we were talking about. I think a lot of people thought it was when they first showed that little trailer for it, and talked about it. I'm like, oh crap, they made the game that people have been wanting since Black Flag. I'm like, okay, cool. And then they got to the actual gameplay and they started talking about it, and it's just like, this sounds like just another PvP Twitch streaming game that we have a million of right now. It's just this one's on boats, which could be cool. Could be a game. But I think what a lot of people were wanting after that teaser trailer, and they talked about it for a minute, and what we ended up getting out of it were two completely different things. It's like they heard what we wanted, but then they twisted it into something that they actually want to do. And maybe business-wise it makes sense, but I think for a good chunk of audience that's been clamoring for Black Flag's sequel or like game, that game looked like bleh to me afterwards. What about you?
You know what? I'm actually in agreement with you right there. Skull and Bones and stuff like that was my personal like worst showing at E3. You know, the worst game I saw personally out of all those conferences. Now there were others that were contenders and stuff like that, but this one turned to like from, oh hey, it's pirate fighting type of thing that's different from Sea of Thieves, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, it's a PvP thing that looks like that's even worse because it looks like it's a standard like, okay, it's always online, you're doing five like 5-on-5 and stuff. Oh, you get to go through, you can plunder ships, you can go forth, and you can like turn on your friends, which sounds remotely like The Division with ships, and it's like, I don't want this.
Yeah, no.
It looks. Personally honest and stuff, it looks worse than Sea of Thieves. To be perfect.
Yeah, that's the way I came out of it. Actually, if I had to pick one, I'm gonna go Sea of Thieves, no question about it at all. Kind of moving on. Next thing. I think we already know the answer to this one if you've listened to all our shows. We talked about it a few days ago. Best press conference. It's obviously, I think, Nintendo for both of us. So going down to number 2, outside of Nintendo, what was your favorite press conference?
Outside of Nintendo, my favorite press conference honestly had to have been Sony's, because there were announcements like during the show which I kind of liked and stuff. I did like the gameplay aspect things for God of War. I need to just try to
Detroit.
The Detroit, the Detroit game actually looked really interesting, to be perfectly honest. But I keep on forgetting like what exactly was at the conference. It's been not even 24 hours and stuff like that, and it's like I'm starting to forget things.
So much stuff got announced in a short amount of time, so it's easily understandable.
Yeah, I just liked it because there was a lot of like games that I was interested in like playing within the next year or two, and plus the whole like confirmation before the show of like the release dates for like Ni no Kuni 2 and like Undertale. I mean, Undertale I've been wanting to play for fucking ever, so that's coming to the console and stuff. That definitely made things better going into the conference itself. But yeah, it was just games like God of War and stuff like that really just brought to light and stuff. That the Uncharted Lost Legacy stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that, especially with some of the PSVR stuff. Looks really impressive. Undertale, that's a big one too. For me, outside of Nintendo, it would be Bethesda. Like I said a few days ago, I think they knocked out of the park with everything they showed there. I think there's something there for everybody. Wasn't a lot shown. It was a nice 40-minute press conference. No real dead time. It never really had a point in time where I could just look at my phone and space out until I ignore it.
Right.
The Doom VFR looks like it could be really cool. Obviously, Evil Within 2 and Wolfenstein 2 being 2 of my 3 favorite games coming out of E3 speak volumes too. And I think they nailed both of those trailers and gameplay we saw for both of them. So, yeah, Bethesda. I mean, that was an awesome, and that was easily the best of the third-party ones.
Yep.
Moving on to worst press conference.
I think pretty much you and I are in agreement on this one. It had to have been Electronic Arts.
Yeah.
Without a shadow of a doubt. It was boring. There were few games or even barely anything of interest that we actually wanted to talk about. I mean, hell, we initially wanted to try to extend our first podcast, like our first episode for the E3 2017 stuff, because we thought that there was going to be more stuff like announced inside the conference itself. We were
gonna do just the EA podcast on Saturday night, and we just bumped it in with Microsoft and not Ubisoft, Was it Microsoft?
It was
just Microsoft.
it was just EA and Microsoft we bumped
Okay.
into. We
Yeah. Okay.
got the Bethesda, like Ubisoft and Sony stuff, like a couple nights ago.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
But the Electronic Arts, it's like the only things that were remotely interesting was little bits of gameplay for Star Wars Battlefront 2 and like, oh hey, there's an announcement for a new BioWare game. It's Anthem. It'll be showcased on your freaking on the Microsoft press conference and stuff like that. But other than that Battlefield 1 DLC, there really wasn't that much that was that great. It was just boring because there was a lot of like sports talk, and it's like, yeah, I like annual sports game as much as like the next like person, but nah, it just felt really just fucking haphazard. It wasn't just game after game. It was just like, okay, we'll show you a game. Now we're gonna talk and like do this all the other shit for like the next 20 minutes and stuff like that. And you're gonna be sitting back and listening to his lecture or sitting. Oh, hey, here, play my game. This and this and this and this. You know, that's just the thing in comparison to the other press conferences. At least for Bethesda's press conference, they showed game after game, and it was a better conference, in my opinion, than say
better games.
EA, and there was better games.
Yeah.
For Ubisoft, even though there were hints and like things that were kind of funny, like the fucking like Just Dance things that looked like fucking Sub-Zero doing his day job to earn his money for the next tournament.
Yeah.
It
that was great.
I kid you not, 3 fucking guys that look like they were dressed up as like fucking Sub-Zero, and they're doing fucking dances for Just Dance. But
one of the highlights of E3 for me, by the way.
It definitely was something that I remember. But even then, they had interesting games to show, even with the Mario and Rabbids stuff, which came, like, that gameplay thing came out of left field, personally. But at least they had stuff that's interesting.
Yeah.
And with EA, it just felt boring. And it made me frustrated and angry after that conference. So,
yeah, I'm kind of with you. Definitely with you, actually. I was even disappointed. Like usually, like I like the Madden. I love Madden. But even I usually don't really. I'm not really excited to hear about Madden at E3. But I was really excited this year though with the story mode they're adding into it, and this is the first one. The Frostbite engine. What's it going to look like? How's it going to play? Everything like that. And we got a 45-second teaser for the story. No gameplay, nothing shown for that at all. So it's a bummer. Spent a lot of time talking about esports and FIFA, which I understand FIFA is one of the highest selling games of the year, but don't care about that. I think a large part of the audience that even likes FIFA don't really care about that. As far as E3 goes, the one saving grace for it to me was the story trailer for Star Wars Battlefront 2 and A Way Out. Those are the only two things that made that press conference worth it to me. Yeah, I mean that we got 2 really good games, possibly really good games, at least really good looking games come out of it. But yeah, it felt like the stuff that that we all hate about E3 press conferences now, where it's just like, we're going to show you a game, then we're going to talk about it for a little while.
Yep.
And it feels like all the other 5 press conferences has gone away from that for the most part. And they've done I think that's for the positive. I think the press conferences were shorter this year, and we got a lot more stuff shown. And we got some details. If you want more details on these games, we're going to give you plenty over the course of E3. You can look them up yourself if you want to, and I'm cool with that. I understand some games you have to show them a little bit to get them like understand what's going on. I get that, and they did that with some of them. Like Assassin's Creed made sense. Like, hey, here's why should we be excited for Assassin's Creed again, and I think they did a good job and an understandable job of showing you some gameplay for that. But yeah, I mean, all these games, if you're not interested in them, you don't have to look. You don't have to sit there and watch someone fake play a game for 20 minutes on stage, or listen to fake co-op chatter on stage. They're gonna do there's gonna be a lot of gameplay shown for that over the next few days. You guys, if you want, it's gonna be on YouTube. You can live stream it, whatever. It's with the way the internet is now. There's no reason for you not. If you're interested in this game, you want to know more about it, you can find it.
Come to think of it and stuff, we didn't really have too much of that. There was only like maybe once or twice that I saw on stage where somebody's actually playing a fucking game for.
Yeah,
doing
I think really Microsoft and I think Ubisoft had one. So yeah, it was definitely the E3 overall from I think showing the games and the press conferences I think were better the way they were managed, but overall I think the games and everything surprises all the things we love about E3. Definitely a down year, but still a really good year for E3. Yeah, so EA worst press conference easily. Next worst is probably it'd be a tie probably between Ubisoft and Microsoft. I think Microsoft was a good press conference, but just a disappointing press conference with what they were hyping up overall. Yeah, that is our kind of the last of our E3 coverage for this week. You got a lot of shows from us this week. Hope you guys listened to them and hope you enjoyed them. We'll be back next weekend with our going back to a regular show, talking about games we've been playing and other news that maybe came out over the next course of the week or so.
Yep.
But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to us with all our crazy content this week. I hope you weren't bored and hope you got enough of it. And hope you're not burnt out on it. But if you guys want to hear more from us, we're on Facebook, have a page and group. It is Drunk Dash Nerds. So like and join us on there. On Twitter, at Drunk Nerds Pod. Follow us on there. At YouTube, it is Drunk Nerds Podcast. Subscribe to us in there. The podcast goes up there so you can like it. That'd be great. And then share it, tell your friends. It'd be great. And also on iTunes, we're on there. Give us a 5-star review. Leave a nice little comment. It's a good way for us to get more coverage. More people can see us. If you do that, we'll shout you out in the show. And also on Twitch, it's a good place to go when we can live stream games. Louis around the background. You can get his collar. Yeah, check us out on Twitch. Drunk Nerds Podcast. I did some streaming over last weekend. I was doing for a couple hours there playing Overwatch during the Double XP weekend. So should be seeing more of that over the course of the summer and things like that. We've been pretty bad at it, but we'll try to get better at it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to us over the course of this week. I'll be back next week once again. I was your host. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, I hope you had yourself a great E3. And most importantly of all, guys, game on.
And don't drink and drive.
There you go.
Bye, guys.
See ya.